Hello friend, my name is Raza Masood. Today we will discuss about change management plan. Friends, let me tell you that it's a very easy topic to understand, and basically it pertains to project management or PMP basically. So first of all, I would request to please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell option as well. So let's start. What is change management plan? Friend, before trying to understand the change management plan, let me discuss with you that what is a change, what we call as a change. Friend, remember, try to understand that whenever we start a project, we have some scope to deliver, few things which we have to deliver to customer, which agreed at the very early stage of a project. For example, you are starting a project and you have to deliver a mobile application to customer which has 5 modules, let's assume, and it's agreed as per the scope document and agreement. When the project starts and after some time you realize customer realize that he needs one more module, so now it becomes 6 module, so it's a change in the scope, so that is called the change. So change definitely requires changes in the scope, the schedule, and on the cost it has impact as well. So what is basically a change? Change means whenever change is coming with respect to the agreed scope of work, so we called it as a change, and it has definitely impact on the time and cost as well. Okay, so this is called a change. Now coming towards our main topic, change management plan. Friend, change management plan defines activities and roles to manage and control change during the execute and control stage of a project. Whenever change is measured against the project baseline, which is detailed description of the project scope, budget, schedule, and plans to manage quality, risk, issues, and change. Now here it's a term called as project baseline. What is project baseline? uh, Try to understand that if you are starting a project and you have to deliver 5 modules, let's assume that you have to deliver 5 modules to a customer and you have to deliver it in 5 months with $5,000 budget. Okay, so when you start a project, you make a baseline. This is your baseline. What is baseline? With respect to scope, cost, and time. What is baseline? Means 5 modules delivery with $5,000 cost, and within 5 months you have to deliver. So this is your baseline when you are starting a project. So whenever projects execute and it runs, so you compare the performance with respect to your baseline basically used to measure your performance with respect to cost, time, and the delivery, the scope. So this is called baseline is basically used to measure your performance. So we defines a change management plan. We basically it's a document which define different activities and roles. Why we are defining, why we are making a plan for change? This is a plan to manage the change. This is a plan which defines that what are the activities, how we will manage whenever a change came into a project. So we have to make a change management plans. Remember one thing, when project starts, normally all the things are agreed with respect to time, cost, scope, etc. Within the agreement, within the project plan, and within the scope of work as well. But when project execute and it came in the running stage, like in the execution stage, then changes came from customer. Then customer realized that, oh, he needs these things as well. So at this stage, before coming at this stage, we have to, as a project manager, you have to make a change management plan which defines the activities, roles, and responsibilities, that how you manage the change which come in the project, and how you manage the budget, cost, schedule, scope, other factor like risk, issues, etc. in the project. So it is basically a change management plan is basically a plan which defines that how you manage changes in your project, because changes has major impacts. Changes means major impacts on the scope, on the schedule, on the risk, issues, etc. It has major impacts. So you need a solid change management plan before this stage. Okay. So during the execute and control stages, changes may require one or more revised project baseline to be issued. Remember one thing, that whenever a change came into a project, there are very high chances that your baseline will also be revised. What was the baseline? Baseline means that you set some goals for your cost, your schedule, your scope. So you set some few targets, your performance targets for these factors, and you measure your performance against the baseline. This is called your baseline, and you measure the performance against these baseline. For example, you set a target that you must have to deliver a project within 5 months. So this is your schedule baseline. Now if a change came in a project, like for example you have to deliver 5 modules, now customer saying that 6 module, so 2 more months would be required, for example. And now your project baseline scope your schedule baseline will be revised, and now initially it was 5 months, now it becomes 7 months. So your project baseline will be revised. So remember one thing, that whenever a change came into a project, your baseline with respect to schedule, cost, scope, it will be revised. Definitely it will be revised, because always a change has some impact on these factors. Okay. Now coming to the next topic, what is basically a purpose of change management plan? Why we are making a change management plan, and what is the purpose? uh, Friend, remember one thing, that whenever we start a project and it came into execution stage, remember one thing, that it is hardly very it's not possible, generally it's not possible that change not came from customer. In 99% cases, always change came into a project. So change can occur throughout the project life cycle. A change management plan helps control the effect of changes during the execute and control stage, thereby avoiding overruns in cost and schedule, incoherent scope, poor quality, etc. What does that mean? It means that, if remember, if you have a change management plan at a very early stage, like in the initiation stage when we are starting a project, so you basically defining that how you manage the change in a project, because it's 100% possible that when you reach in the execution stage, many changes came from a customer, from sponsor. So you should expect changes from customer. So if you have a very good change management plan at a very early stage, which defines that how you manage the change, how you control the change, so remember one thing, that there are high chances that you can manage the main factors like cost, schedule, and scope, and also you can manage the quality as well. Why? Because at a very early stage you have already defined, you have already planned that how you manage the change control, how you manage the change. If you don't have the change management plan, there are high chances that change came from customer, and because you don't have a regular or a defined procedure for change, so there are very high chances that your cost could overruns, your scope could creep, or your schedule could missed. Why? Because you don't have the proper change management plan, already is not in place. So these issues can occur in a project. So it is very necessary that change management plan should be well documented, well planned at a very early stage of a project, there, so that all stakeholders from customer side or vendor side should knows that they how the change will be managed. It should also be properly communicated as well with the proper roles and responsibilities. Remember friend, one thing, that change management plan is very critical in the success of a project. So also it is very important that no change could come could be evaluated or could be implemented without any approval. For example, if you are implementing a project for mobile app, and you have to give 5 module, and then one stakeholder says that one more module is required, so there should be a change control board. Senior management should be involved, and the impact on time, cost, schedule should be evaluated and should be signed off from the customer, that these are the impacts on these factors. If the senior management or change control board approves, only then this change would be implemented in a project and the project baseline would be revised. So it is very very important that the change should be implemented with proper approval. It is not possible that only one person says and verbally says and we make the change, because change always has some impacts on the schedule, on the cost, on the time as well. So it is very necessary, very very important that each and every change should be implemented with proper approval. If there is no approval, then we should not have to do the changes, because if we do the changes without any approval, it will have an impact, and we can't define the responsibility that who has asked for the change. Now, who is basically involved in the evaluation of a change management process? Friend, project team, core team, project manager, project sponsor, customer, project stakeholders. Stakeholder means any person who is positively or negatively impacted with the project. This person is called as project stakeholder. So you can say main stakeholders, main person like project manager, project team, sponsor, customer, other main stakeholders. So all these stakeholders from customer side or from vendor side, they should be involved thoroughly, and if a change came from customer, it should be properly evaluated by a project manager, and the evaluation with respect to cost, time and schedule, it should be well documented, and it should be communicated to customer, and after approval it should be implemented within the project, and project baseline would be revised. But the most important thing is that the change management plan should be in place at a very early stage of a project, that defines the activities and roles and responsibilities, that how you manage a change in a project. This is very important. You can't say if you start execution and then you say that change came from customer, and if it is not communicated to customer that how you manage the change, so it will be a very big problem for vendor, because customer must need this requirement, and if there is no process in place that how you manage the change, then it will be a big trouble. So friend, remember one thing, that as a project manager you should have a clear idea, you should define the change management plan at a very early stage, that defines how you manage the change in a project. Also remember one thing, if you are going to give exam of PMP, project management professional, so remember one thing, that you would see many questions in which your concept related to change management plan, how you manage the change, how you evaluate a change. Remember one thing, change cannot be implemented without the evaluation of its impact on time, cost and quality, etc. and after approval you can implement the change. This is a very basic concept, and let me tell you that you will definitely see 2 to 3 questions definitely see in the exam related purely related to change, that how you manage the change, how you manage the change, how you make a change management plan. Definitely you see few questions in exam in which your concept related to change will definitely be tested thoroughly with proper questions. So you should definitely have a clear concept of change and change management plan, and how you manage the change, and what are the criteria, what is the procedure to implement a change. You should definitely have this information, this concept in your mind when you are giving an exam of PMP. It will definitely tested with many angles in the exam. So friend, thanks a lot for your time. I have taken lots of your time. That's all from my side. I hope you like this video. If you have any question, please do ask from me. I would love to answer your queries, and please subscribe to my channel. And thank you, thanks a lot for your time and watching this video. Thank you.